Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek at Spiel 17. I'm sitting down with Alan Paul from Surprise Stare, and you brought us an expansion to Snowdonia.
We have, Beth. Yes,
Two flavors in one box, though.
Two scenarios. It's our first boxed expansion. It's a bit dramatic. No, actual boxed expansion. We have two expansions. The first one, which is actually one that I designed.
Yes.
So it's been on the cards for a long time, but I haven't finished it. This is called Siege of Petersburg. Because I design a lot of war games, I figured, how about a mashup between the American Civil War and Snowdonia? What could possibly go wrong? So, what we selected was the Siege of Petersburg, which is in 1864. It's when General Grant is trying to take Richmond, and General Lee is resisting. And there's a big siege of, well, surprisingly, Petersburg. And railroads, I should say, are of course key. We've tried to use railroad throughout rather than railway because it's American. Now, the changes to the game, for those of you who want to know about the changes. Firstly, all the stations are either garrisons, all the station sites are garrisons or supplies. So what you're trying to do is build up the supplies and the garrisons for the armies that are here, for either Lee or Grant, or indeed both. Because we're just labourers just making this railroad, and we don't care who we work for as long as we get paid. It's fine, you know. So you start from either end. It's a 2 or 4 player game to balance the two sides. So if you start on the Confederate end of the Channel Station, you start on the Appomattox Man on Grant side. The general pieces, these are new.
Yep, so we have little
nice
stand-ups
pieces here. These actually drive the end of the game. So basically each turn, one or other of the generals will move. The weather is replaced by here moving the generals. And as you'd expect, when they meet somewhere, there's a big battle, and that ends the game. Now, the reason that's important is that all the supplies and garrisons on this side of the big battle, on this side, the Union side, are Union supply and garrisons, and all the ones on this side are Confederate supplies and garrisons. So there are contracts in the game which allow you to build specific supplies for a specific site. So although you can build both sides, very often you'll want one side to win, so you'll be trying to egg on one side. Hence there is a special new action, which is move one or other of the generals. So you can try and edge the battle to go your way rather than opponents. There are new trains here. My favourite train, which I was really pleased with, is the Dictator, which is in fact the first ever railgun.
Wow!
It's a massive great mortar that was used for bombarding Petersburg. So if you can get this into play when the Union general is past the Jerusalem Plank Road, which is actually opposite Petersburg, it's South Petersburg, it's actually over here. So if you get him over here, you can then start bombarding with the Dictator, and you get points for how much rubble you put on the Dictator. I really did like it. The trains are all flavoured to the particular period. Some of them are quite obscure. I'm interested in comments on, people find out a little bit more about the campaign, because it's very educational. I was
going to say, you've got some historical figures there. And
So
no reason why we can't learn and play at the same time.
There are military events as well, so sometimes you can find that you lose some stuff that you had before, or maybe some track is destroyed by a cavalry raid. So there's quite a lot going on, but there's not too much changes from the main game. It's just flavoured for the American Civil War.
And that's not all you get in this box, because we also have the Channel Tunnel of 1881. So I'm going to sweep these off to the side.
If I could have, because this is a single box scenario, we actually use the same station cards. All we do is we flip them over. So we have got Dover, we've got St Pancras, Dover, we've got Shakespeare's Cliff, Calais, Sangat, and the Gare du Nord. It's not that one. Hooray, there we go. And there will be obviously some track in between these. The track in this game is either French or British, because this track represents the tunnel. This is Channel Tunnel. This is Channel Tunnel 1881. This actually happened. The Victorians started building Channel Tunnel. They actually did some sample digging, boring of the stuff from each side, and they gave up because the British Parliament thought it's a threat to national security, so we better stop this. But This scenario is about what if they continue doing it. So we have a French side and we have a British side. The pieces for the British are always blue and the French are yellow. That's because, as everybody knows, it rains in Britain and it's nice and sunny in France. Each player can buy a boring machine. Not an interesting machine, a boring machine. This is the one that actually does a lot of the work. So it's a train. So you can buy it as an extra train. In which case you turn it over and it becomes nice and colourful. This gives you an extra action. The extra action allows you to dig better, dig faster, get more stuff out of the ground, and also it enables you to manage the crises that arise. There's a special, instead of weather, because there's no weather in Channel 3.
Oh, right, you're underground.
There are crisis markers. So the weather markers used as crisis, hence the blue and the yellow. And if you get excessive crises coming up for your side, you will start losing ownership markers out of the game. So you need to control the crisis, hence you have an extra guy who you can use to manage those crises.
Plus rubble.
Plus rubble,
because that makes sense, you're digging.
So, and of course, when you're building the tunnel itself, you have to shore it up. So whenever you build the track, there's 3 slots on each, 3 slots on the 6s and 2 on those. You can elect to spend the rubble you dig out and an extra stone to shore it up. And you get more points for shoring things up. There are contracts, the track cards require you to have shored it up. There's no point in having a shoddy piece of workmanship in the Channel Tunnel. You really need to make sure it's shored up. There are a lot of points in this. This is a game where you can only build the stations when your boring machine is next to the station, because you have to actually reach there and have some stuff there and make it. Hence, there's a very, very large amounts of points available because you have to get timing right.
Right.
It's a lovely expert scenario. You really have to know what you're doing because you can really make a mess of the Channel Tunnel.
Well, that's a good one that, you know, little challenge here in this little bitty box. Well, if you guys want to check that out, that is the double expansion here for Snowdonia, the Siege of Petersburg and the Channel Tunnel 1881. And Alan, thank you so much for letting us take a look. And you need Snowdonia to play this expansion.
You do need Snowdonia. Thank you very much.